Good evening, everyone. You can find me on the Clapper app. I think it's clapperapp.com. It's like a substitute for TikTok. And it's not better than TikTok necessarily, although, the feed is not as good as TikTok. But it's just there, and I get a lot of views on there sometimes. So look out for clapperapp.com. Same username, Antipredator1M. So on Clapper, I did a very short video on social cues. And it's kind of interesting that someone who's so old doesn't know how to read social cues very well, doesn't know how to mesh in with other people very well. I have certain things about myself which allows me to know a lot about other people, but only from my own perspective. My ethical grounding in my personality is very, very strong compared to most people's. But my etiquette, my ability to romanticize or ask for things and express feelings in certain ways is inferior to a lot of other people's. And that's one of the reasons also why it's hard for me to get a job. There's something about my university studies which is really sus. I bombed out of university on 6 occasions, and I'm still wondering why I did that because whilst I had so much opportunity, so to speak, I um, just bombed that opportunity because of so many different reasons. Mainly because I couldn't tolerate certain things in the teaching and the education uh, environment or the education process. So it's a long story. I can go through all the different instances where I bombed out, but it'd be pretty boring. So in 1999, I dropped out of music after 3 weeks. Music composition was my major at the Australian National University. And I think it was because my needs weren't being met as a composer. Like, I just wanted to compose and to be by myself and be in a room where I could just do what I wanted to do, with a piano, of course. But I didn't have the opportunity. And that's something that I was suffering because my family neglected me for so long, not allowing me to do things quietly in a quiet studio. And then in 2001, at the end of 2001, I bombed out of University of Sydney where I was doing okay. Like I wasn't the top student or anything, but I was getting passes and credits and stuff. But I went back to Canberra because I was afraid that I had been somewhat the cause of the World Trade Center attacks in New York and elsewhere in America on September 11, 2001. This is really hard. I've got a blocked nose. That's why I'm not speaking really well. Sorry. At the end of 2004, I dropped out of the Australian National University because there was some sense that I was just completely bored of what was going on. And there were so many classes which I simply did not understand. Third year maths, for example, went to every class and did not understand or grasp anything about what was being taught in those classes. Although there were many people sitting at the front of the class who were just nodding their heads all the time. So in 2006, I escaped up to Sydney and did a drama course there. And I was expelled for riotous behaviour. There was this really sycophantic kind of director guy who took over from the previous director of the academy, and he didn't like me, so he expelled me. In about 2006, I think in 2006, 2008, 2009, I also went to Canberra Institute of Technology where I did a few courses there, and I passed certificate 2 in IT, which was very, very easy. But I couldn't even pass certificate 3. There was something at the end which I couldn't get over and pass successfully. And I was even doing certificate 4 where I was studying things like Python, which is a programming language which is quite useful apparently, but I never got really into that. 2009, 2010, I joined up with, I think it was Griffith University through Open Universities Australia or something, and I did a few courses on different subjects there. Once again, I there were some things about the lecturer which really pissed me off, and he was irate and irritable and sort of person, and that really put me off. And eventually, I quit that as well. Over the years since 2011, I've tried to go get into TAFE again. I think I tried to do a course with TAFE, and it was completely off what I expected, and I just quit after after a while. Just quit. I also studied law in 2020. I think it was about, yeah, in the University of New England. I studied law for about a year, and I found it grueling at best. Even though I passed 3 units, I eventually bombed out of doing contract law, and I decided not to keep on going because the teaching was so bad. Now, for me, the only singular time in my life where I feel that I've actually been normal to a significant degree was when I was working as a call center operator trainee at Telstra. This was in 2021, I think it was. I worked there for a year, for a month, and I was actually quite regarded as quite normal there because I didn't say very much, and I was regarded as a kind of kind person. I had a few friends there and got on with them. So that was the rare instance where I was actually normal. But for me, having things which happen in my life which are abnormal seems to be the real norm for me. And I can't seem to get over that. I think that being isolated and a sort of antisocial person as I am sort of reinforces itself. It's like you become that person and you reinforce it with behaviors, and it's reinforced by behaviors from society and social cues like that. And so, for some reason, I can't seem to fit into society as well as most people can. And of course, I make these really weird videos like you're watching right now. And despite the fact that this video is probably so bad, I'm still going to post it because I don't care very much, about the outcome. And I just want to put myself out there and see what happens. It's like this weird social magnet which I'm experimenting with. I mean, I mentioned in my video on Clapper that my ethics base in my personality is really quite strong. So I look for people who are kind people first and see how kind they are. And then I will work my way up and become sociable towards them, but not before they are, before I can ascertain that they are kind people. But for most people, it's like they socialize first up and they integrate with people regardless of how ethical they really are. So interesting take on life. My perspective on life is very different to theirs. So I am what I was called the outsider by someone at drama school in 2006, and I think that's a very accurate name for me, the outsider. I certainly am an outsider. I was definitely an outsider then, and I am very much an outsider now still, I guess. Not so much, but have a few friends here and there. But seriously, I do regard myself as an outsider, and I think that's a good way of describing me. I love emails. For some reason, I really, really love emails. They're like every time I get an email, I get this buzz because I can read something and I get into that. And so for some reason, it ignites my pleasure centers, whereas other things may not do so quite as much. So I'm a big fan of emails. Although I will make this secret confession that I don't read all my emails all the time. I get scared when someone appears intimidating, and I just shut down and I don't read their emails. So kind of weird, isn't it? That's what I am, a weird person. Okay, folks, I will see you next time. Hope you got something from this video. Bye for now.